I am now recording.
Alright, so hi, I'm Gabrielle Moore, and I did the beliefs on death, resurrection, and the afterlife within Islam. So some topics of discussion. I'm going to go over death, suicide within Islam, the grave, which is also kind of like the Islam purgatory, a summary resurrection, time, blowing of the trumpet, lesser and greater marks of Islam, and resurrection. Okay, so just to get into some of their views on death. So basically they believe that death is predetermined by Allah. And with that, they are encouraged to deter from acting dangerously or carelessly because they believe that they already have a set death date when they were born. And they're supposed to not dwell on death rather than focus on living their life for Allah. With that, Allah deters individuals from putting themselves in precarious situations that could alter their death date or to interfere with their death date by attempting suicide. And with that, the idea that death is some kind of incident that could have been prevented if we had been a bit more careful or a bit more, if medicine were a bit more advanced, is utterly alien to the Islamic way of looking at things. So basically with that, they just believe that you already have your predetermined death date and you shouldn't try to alter that by attempting suicide, which is what I'm going to go over next. So basically, like I said, the death is predetermined, but you shouldn't force yourself to cause a quicker death. So obviously Muslim means one who submits to Allah. So with that, you're basically your main goal in life is to live your life for Allah and submit for Him. So basically they consider it as an injustice to commit suicide. But one of the big quotes from the Quran is, "Do not throw yourself into destruction with your own hands." Okay, and then so the stage after their death is basically referred to as the grave, and the Arabic word for it is barzakh, and basically it's like the Islamic purgatory compared to Christianity. So basically when a person dies, the angel of death takes them to their summary resurrection, which is said to be the resting place in their grave, but not entirely the same, because it's not technically their final resting place. But the two angels, Nakir and Munkar, basically ask them three questions when they get to their grave. They ask them who is your God, who is your prophet, and what is your scripture or faith? And these two angels are supposed to be represented with stern, dark, blue eyes, voices like thunder, and eyes like lightning bolts. But basically they're in a transient place, and it's like the grave, but in a way it's still not. They do believe that they feel alive, but technically, obviously they're not. But more of that, so depending on what you answer to these two angels, if it's answered correctly, basically they believe that your grave is spacious and as peaceful, and your time actually goes a lot quicker, but more so it's a pleasant experience. But however, if you're answered incorrectly, then your grave basically becomes very confined, and it's filled with your fears and hate. It's said that you're tormented with spiders and insects and basically just a bunch of unpleasant surprises. One quote said, "It's so compressed that their ribs will interlock." Okay, so in the space of barzakh, so obviously death is not the end for all Muslims, or for any Muslim. Like death, the questioning of the grave is pretty much unavoidable, and everyone that has passed away eventually will have to live in the grave. But the true nature of the grave is beyond what we can really understand. A person, as they describe it, still technically remains alive within their perspective, meaning that what they feel as though they're alive, I mean obviously they're dead, but in a way it's very similar. But this is pretty much their ultimate resting place until they believe that the end of the world comes. Okay, so the value of time. It's important to understand this because the value of time can actually be very different in the grave, but time is represented differently, and it can vary in time depending on what their sin is. So with that, if they've been and created a lot more sins, then their time is going to be a lot longer. And if they answer their questions incorrectly, then they're going to have a longer time as though it feels. Because time basically loses all externality and all solidarity. So it's basically just the essence of perception. There's no way to mark time, but they believe that it's pretty much just how long you feel it is. Okay, so the lesser and greater signs of the end of the world. So basically, they believe that there's a certain set of marks that lead to the end of the world. Okay, so the lesser signs basically happen over a long period of time, and with that, some have already occurred and will continue to occur. Like some examples of these are the coming of the prophet, the death of the prophet, widespread drinking of alcohol, the spread of adultery, killings, earthquakes, and dreams coming true. And that says the prophet Muhammad. But and then with this, the greater signs, which are just more major remarks, they basically believe that these have like a chain reaction. So they kind of in a way create a roadmap for the future, because as soon as one happens, they're supposed to happen like in a sequence, and it's eventually like quickly going to lead to the end of the world. But some of the examples is the redescent of Jesus, 3 different landslides, the rising of the sun, the beast, and the fires that move people from the house. And just some background on the beast. So his name is Dajjal, and this is basically the Arabic word for liar. And basically God sends him as a test to all Muslims. So the person that even has just the littlest of faith or more will see that he has like liar written across their forehead, and they will know basically not to follow that guy. But the people that don't believe in Islam, they will like believe that he is, because he says he's God to test them. But the people that don't follow Islam will follow him because they believe that he's God. And God actually gives him the power to tear someone in half and put them back together, basically as the biggest test to see if people will truly believe if he's God or not. But it said that he will go everywhere in the world except for Mecca and Medina, because these places are protected by the angels. And with that, Jesus actually comes to re-kill the beast, and after that happens, they believe that Jesus leads the world for like 7 years and brings like fairness and safety to everyone. Okay, so blowing of the trumpet is basically what marks the end of the world for them. So the first time the trumpet is blown, it's similar to like a terrible scream that brings death to all those in the living world. So this is what they refer to as the end of the world, which is also called the Qiyamah, I think. But basically, when the first time it's blown, they believe that like the actual end of the world will happen, and all the people that are living on Earth will die and like also move to the Barzakh, the grave place. But once everyone is gathered in the grave place, they believe that the second blowing of the trumpet will happen, and that's basically meaning that everyone in the grave in the Barzakh place is going to go to heaven or hell. They're going to finally face their judgment day. So all of those people that have died right now, they believe that they're still in the grave. Like they don't believe that they've gone to heaven or hell yet. They all go at once, basically. So Allah's for us who roused us from our sleeping place. This is what the merciful promise, and that voice spoke truly. But during this day, it's said to be like the longest day ever lived, because it all does happen in a sequence of a single day, but they believe that like it could last like 50 years with the perception of time. And then with that, they also believe that their coccyx bone will not disintegrate. Like every single bone in their body will, except for that one, because that's how they believe that's how they're made from. And someone also asked, or not asked, it's written in the Quran that like how they were questioning how they would actually be able to be created again. And it basically says that I've created you once, so I can create you again. And then with that, you basically face your judgment day. So obviously you could have the option of going to hell, and some similar words that relate to that are fire, blaze, burning, and hellfire. But they do believe that there are 7 levels of hell, and you can actually like move from one level. Like if you repent for your sins enough, they do believe that you can move back to heaven eventually. So with that, they also have like in the levels, they have them dedicated to like certain sins too. Like one of the levels is like not believing in the prophet and like, things like that. So depending on what your sins are, it will determine what level you're in. But with that, there's also heaven, and this is peace, fulfillment, garden, bliss, and eternity. And basically, if you have lived your life in service to Allah, you will witness like the paradise of heaven. God will make those who have faith and work upright deeds enter gardens through which rivers flow. And those who conceal the truth will enjoy themselves and eat as cattle eat, and the fire shall be their lodging. And those are the references.
I have a question for you. I know you've been waiting for it. Do you have any comments about the similarities you've seen between Islamic concept of death and Christian concept of death?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of similarities. I mean, like they do have like this sort of purgatory thing that already is like a similarity. But one thing I do think is different is they do believe that like they all go to heaven or hell at the same time. Like their judgment day is for everyone all at once. So
Okay.
like they wait till the end of the world happens for that to
Okay.
happen. So I think that's a little bit different because I think that through Christianity, like once you die, you do go through purgatory to like
Okay.
repent for your sins, but eventually you go to heaven or hell.
Okay.
So that's one difference. But I do think there's like tons of similarities, differences. Like, and I know that they believe like through heaven and hell, like you can still, even like Christianity, like they do believe that you can still reach heaven because like at least that's what one of my Arabic friends told me. But they believe that even if you are in Christianity, like you can still make it to heaven because of so many of the similar beliefs. So that's just
It depends on which one. Well, I'm saying that. Some people. Okay.
those are my similarities.
All right. Thank you very much.